You're listening to the Open Podcasts.
Fans, where would golf be without them?
Oh, and this is even better. Oh, listen to that roar.
It's a fantastic arena, and what a moment.
That long birdie putt or spectacular hole out made all the more sweet when there's a crowd to roar in delight.
Holy moly.
It's just so good.
But is there a greater sound in golf than the fans at the Open greeting the newest champion golfer of the year?
To look around and to hear the fans and them all rooting you on, and it never gets old, it really doesn't.
Into the hole, and Collin Morikawa is the new Open champion. The 149th champion now stands arms aloft in the sunshine.
My name's Jonathan Joseph, and if you're thinking, that sounds a little bit like DJ Spoony, yes, it's me. Now, I couldn't wait for the 149th Open, but like the rest of the world, I had to, after its playing in 2020 was put on hold by an unprecedented global pandemic. Biding its time to host the championship for a 15th occasion was Royal St George's in Kent, and by Monday the 12th of July 2021, at last, the golfing world began to descend on the Garden of England.
Hey, I'm Matt Adams. I work for NBC and Golf Channel, and I host the Fairways of Life show, and I was at Royal St. George's for Open Radio. I expected that it would be emotional for everyone to be back on a links golf course again. I think most people view the Open as the world's major championship, and the fact that we could be back on this grand stage again with everything that was going on in and around the world was tremendous. It was interesting, too, that we were also coming off the loss of that football game for England. So there was the kind of this very interesting dynamic.
Yes, thanks for the reminder. England had just lost in the final of the Euros at Wembley and on penalties. But with focus now shifting to another of the country's great sporting venues, anticipation was rising for the next big summer sporting occasion.
My name is John Martin. I'm from Hertfordshire in the UK, and I attended the 149th Open for all 4 days. Me and my friends try and go to the Open every year, so I've had the pleasure of going to watch it in Scotland, Ireland, England, which is class. Because we go all the time, it's something we look forward to every year. So the fact that we had to wait almost, double the length to actually go, I couldn't hold the excitement. We were talking about it for months in advance, planning how we're going to get there. It was every little detail about how excited we were. It was ridiculous.
In amongst the 32,000 spectators each day was a former player on the Ladies European Tour, now embarking on a new career.
Hi, my name is Incy Mehmet, and this was my first time working for the Open Radio at Royal St George's and Sky. We had such a brilliant time. I think the biggest aspect was to have the fans back. Watching the tournaments and I guess witnessing that kind of quiet and eeriness and, the players just striding down the fairways on their own. It almost felt like a practice round. And it's the fans, it's the noise, it's the buzz, it's the excitement, it's the oohs and ahs that we love. You know what, one of the highlights of the Open was probably talking to an alligator on day one. One of the fans dressed up as a crocodile or something. So that was quite a bizarre experience.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Hi there, yeah, I'm good. A bit hot after that walk from the station, but I'll find a little swamp in a minute and have a little cool down, I think.
The crocodile wasn't lying about the heat either. With temperatures predicted to hit 28 degrees centigrade by the final day, the week looks set to be very different to when Royal St George's had last hosted the Open. Louis Oosthuizen was the reigning champion in 2011 when his title defence was blown off course.
Oosthuizen, fourth hole, second shot. Oh, that's going a touch left. Wet gloves, wet grips, cold conditions.
2011, the Saturday was horrendous weather in the morning. And I played, I think, a good round of golf and I shot 75. It was coming down with rain, sideways, the wind was blowing. It was really bad. And the afternoon, the weather was fine.
Not the happiest of memories for the South African then, but it wouldn't take long this time round for him to find some love for the course.
Coming to the tournament, played practice round, and I'm like, I don't remember everything about it, but I sort of like it. I like the challenges there was. I thought it was a really good, golf course to, if you're a good driver of the golf ball, you can really attack and have a lot of opportunities, and that was sort of the strategy.
I played Royal St George's maybe within the year of the Open, so pretty close. And the thing that stood out to me is, it's a really tough golf course, but nowhere near as tough as how they would have set it up, of course, for the Open. The rough was nowhere near as long. However, what I really struggled with was the lack of targets to aim at. Because of the way it's designed, you have quite a lot of blind tee shots, if not approach shots.
As Paul Eels, one of our broadcast partners and a winner on the European Tour in his own right, said an unmade duvet is the way he phrased it. And it was a perfect phrase for Royal St. George's. It's a quirky golf course. It's a different golf course.
Having played the course myself, quirky is a word I definitely agree with, as would past winner returning to the Open that week, Jordan Spieth.
I thought it was quirky, but in a good way. I thought it was going to be a really fun Open. I had heard kind of it could depend on the bounces, like it was maybe going to be, the past Opens have been kind of odd, the finishes, but you had some really tough conditions, and then our conditions were really good. So it was a very different Open from the previous couple at St. George's. And so looking at that forecast, I thought, you kind of throw out those old ones out the window, because we had a different wind direction and it was warmer and it wasn't going to rain.
Another who surely liked what they saw in the week's forecast was Spieth's compatriot, Collin Morikawa. A winner of the PGA Championship on his debut the year before, his rise to the top of the game had been rapid. But here he was making his debut at another major championship, and with the not-so-small task of discovering what the Open is all about.
I'd really never played links golf. Links golf was really new. I had obviously heard a lot of things about it. I've seen it on TV, you see Open championships being played all the time, but you never actually play it out here in the US. There's only a couple courses that are similar, and I just never had the chance. And as an amateur, I never had the chance to play out there too much.
We tend as mortals to look at what they do and say, it takes a certain degree of experience, it takes a certain degree of years, it takes a certain degree of shot options to understand the nuance that is links golf. Well, if you look back to the history of the game, links golf didn't vex Jack Nicklaus, who didn't grow up playing it in Ohio at Scioto Country Club.
And he's done it right to the heart. Open champion, Jack Nicklaus.
Links golf certainly didn't vex Tom Watson, who grew up in the St. Louis area.
Yes, he has. The defending champion wins again.
So Collin Morikawa, who grew up in California, probably, in fairness, had more exposure to harder, fast, windier conditions along the Pacific Ocean than most. But to speak of, he had really no experience with links golf.
I had actually played the Scottish Open the week before, so that gave me a little taste of what links golf was actually going to be like. It was not exactly the links golf that you expect, but it was at least a little warm-up. It was a taster, as an appetizer to what possibly Royal St. George's was going to be. And, I needed it. It actually made me learn a few things. It made me change some equipment things that I needed to before the Open had started. And it just made me aware of certain, aspects of my game that I needed to bring for the Open.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Royal St. George's for the first day's play of the 149th Open. This is game number 1. On the tee from England, Richard Bland.
725 days after Shane Lowry had tapped in to win the 148th Open Championship at Royal Portrush, Richard Bland, a fairy tale story in its own right in 2021, placed his ball on the first tee at Royal St. George's and settled himself.
Sounded sweet. Crowd like it. And so the Open is officially underway.
The walk from the train station was about 30 minutes, but we didn't walk it, we ran it. So as soon as we got through those first gates, we were running to the first tee just to see who was teeing off. We didn't really look at what was around, we just went, right, we're going to the first tee, we're going to see as much golf as we can.
By mid-morning, the place was buzzing, and the atmosphere was getting hotter and hotter.
On Thursday morning, I was following DJ and Will Zalatoris. I was following Justin Rose, and the amount of enthusiasm, the amount of excitement, the amount of passion, the amount of anticipation from the fans that not only surrounded the first tee, but also embraced that entire first hole was, you know, I would liken it to probably the fever pitch of a Ryder Cup. Because everyone was so excited. Everyone had waited so long, maybe too long, for this to commence once again. So the entire setting, the entire scene felt cathartic to me.
2 groups ahead of Matt Adams was an absolute blockbuster of a trio. Defending champion Shane Lowry, US Open winner Jon Rahm, and a flying Louis Oosthuizen.
Up high into the sky, it's starting to turn on the wind, right onto the target. This could be very good. Spin, delicious shot. No more than 8 feet past the hole. What a shot, Louis Oosthuizen.
Those first few holes, you can make a birdie or two, but it's sort of a few holes you can easily make a bogey and sort of be 1-2 over through 5 holes. So that was sort of the plan, not just to go through those holes and then see, you know, if you can have that stretch with a par 5 on 7, and then you have shorter holes coming up in 9 and 10, and sort of see what you can do from there.
This is the birdie putt. A little bit from his right, sends it on its way, and he's just holed another one. 4 under par, Louis Oosthuizen on the march.
He is not a big human being, but because his swing is so efficient, so beautiful, so balanced, he's able to get great performance out of it. I think in some way, Louis Oosthuizen is one of those golfers that I look upon him a bit as an artist. I mean, I suppose in some sense, these athletes are all artists, but when he has that left side of his brain working and he just lets it flow, it looks so easy.
This is for birdie, probably just inside right. Very nice. Lovely birdie for the 2010 champion, Louis Oosthuizen, and he joins the lead.
I felt like I rolled it well going into the week. I putted really nicely, and that I just need to give myself the opportunities, get myself in the fairway, get on the green, and just give myself some look at birdies, and definitely started rolling a few in on that later, or the second half of that 18.
He's robbed the grip, the magic touch, back and through, 64th shot. And it's gone in. What a round of golf from Louis Oosthuizen. 64 blows at Royal St George's. He takes off his cap. The big crowd around this wraparound stadium are giving him warm applause because they know, as a former Open champion, he's just performed at the top of his powers.
4 birdies on the back 9 would propel Louis to a championship-leading opening round of 64. 1 shot ahead of American duo Brian Harman and Jordan Spieth. The going hadn't been quite as good for Oosthuizen's playing partners Lowry and Rahm. 1 over par for both on Thursday, 7 shots down on Louis and looking a long way off a championship challenge. One man who could be very happy with his start though was Lynx rookie Collin Morikawa.
Oh, Collin Morikawa holds a snake. Beautiful birdie at 8.
By the time that afternoon round showed up that first day, it got a little windier. So, you know, a couple under, even par was going to be a good score if you just kept yourself in it. You know, everyone always says you can't win a tournament on Thursday, but you can definitely lose it. So, you know, shooting a few under was huge.
Go on. Go on. Yes, beautiful.
You know, it all started with that first hole. I drove it in the right rough. I thought I practiced in the rough the entire week. Hit it about 90 degrees left of my left leg, all the way across the fairway, had another wedge out of the long rough, and somehow was able to manage a par. And, you know, I think that just brought the momentum for the rest of the week.
A solid 67 for Morikawa, a cause for celebration. As was the same score for a man who had to fight harder than most to be at Royal St George's that week. Birthday boy and my friend, Marcel Siem.
I don't know why they knew it, but a few guys in the crowd, they were shouting over, "Congrats Marcel, happy birthday" and stuff.
The German had lost his European Tour status back in 2018, and in the run-up to the Open, faced a 13-week slog of consecutive tournaments, only sealing his place at the last possible chance with a Challenge Tour win in France the week before.
Siem at 16, 2 under.
Stay there, stay there.
Good first round for the German, asking it to stay there. There's a bunker not far away, out of the picture to the right, but a brilliant shot from Marcel Siem, and he is just enjoying life.
I was really tired. I mean, I drove back to Germany from France and then to England to sandwich. And because it was my 13th week and week 9, I was already tired as well. I mean, the buzz was so big that I actually forgot that I played so many weeks in a row because it was so exciting. And people were congratulating me for the win in France. So that lifted me up and gave me definitely more energy.
Energy was certainly not something Marcel would lack that week. His fist pump tally was off the charts. And during Friday's second round, he would ramp up the feel-good factor even more.
Made one similar length on the 6th, and a big fist pump to follow. Oh, he's made another one.
14, there was a grandstand on the left, and sometimes on television you don't really hear the crowds applauding. And I hit the shot, and it was really bright. We didn't really see how close the ball was. I hit a great shot. I knew it's going towards the flag, but I didn't know it was that close. And closer the ball got to the flag, as louder the crowds became.
He's found the green at the par 5. Has he ever?
It's working. 4 under for Siem. And a great chance at eagle there, but just missed out.
2 more birdies on 17 and 18 took Siem right into the mix at 6 under and confirmed him as the week's entertainer-in-chief.
If this goes in, it'll be another great reaction. Yeah, fist pumping. There you go.
It's just so good.
I think all the tournaments I played well, I was always interacting with the crowds. The crowds are there to watch us, and I think it's just fair to them as well to make them part of the game as well, in a way.
Is it going to get there? It is. We've seen that fist pump from Siem in the years past. It's back. What a finish. 3 under in the last 5 holes, tied for second, 6 under par. Just a fantastic feel-good story.
You start to feel his emotions with him, and it's wicked just to be a part of his Open journey. So, you know, watching him for a few holes, fist pumping, going crazy. Not only does it get him going, but it gets you going as well. So definitely makes your day a lot more enjoyable. It's great watching on TV, but using Marcel as an example, all pumped up and motivated, it's just a completely different ball game.
Giving off a slightly different vibe, but equally entertaining throughout Friday's second round, was Jordan Spieth.
With Jordan, there's always this sense that somewhere, somehow within, he's fighting some kind of demon, that there's voices in his head that are arguing back and forth. And you can see it with his constant chatter, whether that chatter is to Michael Greller, his caddy, or whether at times that chatter is just mumbling to himself.
This is it then. Jordan Spieth, the Open champion, with one of the most stunning last few hole performances we've ever seen to win the Claret Jug.
It's fair to say it's been somewhat of a rough ride for the Texan since his Open Championship win at Royal Birkdale in 2017. It would take him until April of 2021 to win another golf tournament, and despite some near misses in all 4 majors since, questions were still being asked.
Jordan's strength primarily was in his ball striking, meaning that coming into the green from the fairway, Jordan was for years ranked in the top 5 and oftentimes number 1. Those stats fell off dramatically. We could go through a whole line of theories as to why it dropped off, but I think it was just the flow and ebb of the game over the course of a career, over the course of seasons, and I just think it was confidence.
Right to left here, down the slope, sets into the putt, doesn't mess around. Has one last look, hands forward, ball's on its way, travelling beautifully towards those. It's going to stay there, it's going to stay there, and it does. And Jordan Spieth drops another birdie here. He's birdied 3 of the first 4 holes. Jordan Spieth is really hot out here today.
It was clear this was a confident Spieth. The man he was chasing, the leader in the clubhouse by the time he'd set off, also had a rapid start.
The putt on its way, and into the cup it goes. What a start. Morikawa with a statement birdie. He moves to 4 under par after the first.
Morikawa's masterful iron play would come to the fore in his second round, typified by his second shot on the treacherous 5th hole.
It has these massive dunes in the middle of it that blinds most of the golfers on their approach shot to a green that's set down low and hard by the sea.
Perfect layup onto the upper left plateau.
And I watched him with the wind coming at him into his face, slightly off the right, flight a shot low around the dune that kept it maybe 30 feet off the ground, and he played it slightly from right to left and caught the green on the right side, and it released to the left to where the flag was. It was an absolutely brilliant shot, and an impressive shot.
Oh, and then you do that.
Even there, you can only see the top of the flag.
Yeah.
There was 2 excellent shots into the par 4 fifth, so Morikawa will have a chance to pull within 1.
Even got a waft of sunshine came out as he hit that putt.
A waft.
To 5 under par goes Morikawa.
As you start to build momentum, you know, you have a lot of short irons, you have some mid irons in, and those are my strengths. You know, I was able to find fairways, I was able to capitalize on good shots and lucky bounces. When you're just kind of in that rhythm, you follow that rhythm and you keep it going, and thankfully we were able to post a low number Friday morning.
And that's back-to-back birdies at 8 and 9, back-to-back birdies now at 11 and 12. And Morikawa is 6 under par.
When Morikawa had his wonder round, you could see it on the live updates on the application, so we quickly dipped to a few different holes. When you're watching people, you can hear what everyone's saying, and the whole crowd, when they hit, just goes, wow. So it's kind of, you know, just the way he plays around the course, it's just so calm, collected, and everything's controlled.
It was a mightily impressive 64 from Morikawa, matched only that day by Argentina's Emiliano Grillo, and after the disappointment of Thursday, a resurgent Jon Rahm.
For a birdie to get to level par. He does.
I made some putts early on, and I think that was the key. Just making par on 5 with how the hole went, and then making birdies on 6 and 7 really got me going. I get some confidence, and I played really good golf on those last 14 holes.
Holy moly. It's much more like the Jon Rahm who finished birdie, isn't it, to win the US Open?
We have all seen him mature right before our eyes. He still has that Spanish passion, there is no doubt about that, but he has learned to channel, call it rage, passion if you want to, but he has learned to channel it. When he's angry at a situation, he comes out and he'll fire more often than not than you would think. A birdie on the very next hole. That is Jon Rahm. He's an explosive player, and I mean that in every context.
Explosive isn't a word you'd use to describe one of Rahm's playing partners that day. Friday was another round of calm, controlled excellence from Louis Oosthuizen.
Just 13 on, 5 off the right on this par 5 14th. It's on its way, and yes! In it goes!
Well, my goodness me, an eagle putt. This is magical stuff, isn't it?
A bogey on the par 3 16th would be the only blot and an otherwise exceptional scorecard of 5 under for the South African. With his 6 under from the day before, Oosthuizen had now set a new Open record of 129 through 36 holes, and now held a 2-shot lead over Morikawa.
You don't really want to reflect at that time. Maybe afterwards you'll do a bit, but you want to focus on the next 2 rounds and don't think of a lead and don't think of all that stuff. You want to just go on and play the best golf you can on the weekend.
As well as live leaderboards, tee times, video and radio during the Open Championship, you can enjoy historical and new content every day of the year with the Open app. Download for free on iPhone or Android. With live coverage of the 149th Open Championship from Royal St George's, this is the Open Radio.
We're just located in the tented village just by the big Open logo, and I'm here with a young couple. First time at the Open, just tell us your names and where you're from.
I'm Tom and I'm from near Oxford.
Yeah, I'm Amy and I live with him.
I was lucky enough to speak to so many spectators and fans, but one of the guys at the top of my list was definitely Niall Horan.
What brings you here to the 149th Open?
The love of golf, and then followed by having 3 players from Modest Golf playing in the Open this week. Who doesn't want to come to an Open Championship?
You know, Niall is such a down-to-earth, cool, lovely, approachable human being, and to have his input and passion towards the game of golf and even just being there at the Open was absolutely massive.
In terms of playing the golf course, have you had a chance to give a knock yourself?
Here?
Yeah, around Royal St George's, yeah.
No, I've actually not. You know, to be honest, I haven't played that many of the open run. I would love to. I know. Honestly,
shocking.
I know. I would absolutely love to. And seeing it this week, Jesus, I don't know if my driver has the ability to get me around here pretty easy, because you miss the fairway here, you're in big trouble.
Come Saturday's third round, it wouldn't just be the rough that would be giving the players nightmares. With favourable conditions set to continue, the course needed some protection, and some challenging pins would pose a new test to the open field.
I mean, I've played a few opens now, but today could be as a whole some of the hardest pin locations I've seen collectively. Those greens can be difficult, and there's a lot of highs in all of them, and they put all those pins in little mountaintops where everything slopes away. I understand why they're doing it, you know, with limited wind and greens that were still, for the most part, receptive. It was doable. Not that it was easy, but it was doable. It was a lot harder to make the putts, though.
I asked afterwards, and everyone laughed and looked at me and says, well, you're the reason for it. So going through the round before your round, looking at the pins, you knew exactly where they were, and that you weren't going to take some of the pins on. You were going to really be sensible.
The stern test was clear to see, as many struggled to get out of the blocks.
Driver for Morikawa, he's got to take these two bunkers on the corner of this dogleg, right to left.
Oh. The first 5 holes at Royal St George's are some of the toughest holes. And, you know, I knew if I was going to come out even par for the entire week, I was going to be doing something well. I think I had already played those 1 or 2 under before the weekend had started. So coming out 2 over, you know, I wasn't happy.
3-wood, just a little hybrid for Morikawa.
I really don't get angry with my caddy too much. I thought I hit a decent tee shot on 5, and he said, good shot. And I was already flustered in my head, and I never get mad at him. I really keep a level head.
Yeah, but is that like in the rough?
Landed right above the bunker, and I almost lost my cool.
Well, obviously, he's not happy with that sort of situation, but I think
he's really close. He's really close to falling back here. He has to be so careful. And he hacks one, and he did try to play, and he's hit a straight right. 4! Sorry, I had to shout 4. They're almost out of bounds here on the right-hand side, up against the railing. Oh, there's a lot of goings on here, Ron.
Well, dramatic stuff to say the least.
You know, we talked it out on the next hole, and I think through those 5 holes, I really learned a lot about myself. Is that, you know, it's okay to get mad, it's okay to get flustered, but you have to forget about it. You have to forgive yourself, and you have to move on, and that's exactly what I did.
On the upslope here.
So hole 7, and I hit one of the best 3-woods I could have hit all week. I think it was the best 3-wood. Hit it up, I was maybe 25, 30 feet, had an eagle putt, 2-putted that for birdie. Hit a quality golf shot on the next hole, make a putt from about, I think, 15, 20 feet. That kind of propelled the rest of the round and brought me back into the tournament and brought my head back into realizing, okay, this is what we're playing for. We're playing at a major, we're playing for the Open Championship.
And the ball is on its way. Stays down, looks good, and in from Collin Morikawa. What a lovely putt. That really was high class.
Morikawa's open claim would be boosted with birdies on 13 and 14 to complement a bogey-free back 9. One group in front, the challenge from Jordan Spieth was also gaining momentum.
For a 3 at the second to move alongside Morikawa, 2 off the lead.
Wow, what a birdie that is.
Yeah, watching him practice putting is like watching a fish practice swimming. This guy knows how to do it.
When he does what he does things that cause you to shake your head and go, did I just see that? Did Jordan just pull that off?
Back and through, rolling to the hold line. Looks good, it's in! Jordan Spieth gets the 10 under.
But sadly for Jordan, the thing that I remember is how many opportunities he had to make putts that wouldn't drop.
Jordan here has got a 6-footer breaking gently from right to left. He'd look to put this on about the right edge of the hole. He's shuffling his feet now. Ball's on its way. Is he going to reach? Short on pace and misses on the low side, taps it in with the back of his paddle. That was a disappointing bogey 4 after quite a poor bunker shot.
Despite 2 bogeys through 16, The American's 3-under par score had pushed him into a three-way tie for the lead with Morikawa and Oosthuizen, the latter having dropped shots on 11 and 13. But there was still to be a sting in the tail on the final 2 holes for Spieth.
Always hit this knockdown little pitch runner. Get to the top, Jordan, and stay there, stay. It's not holding, it's not holding. It's coming back down the slope.
Yeah, I was frustrated. I would say when I look back now, I'm probably more frustrated than when it even happened. And yeah, I mean, I just kind of tried to bounce a wedge up and didn't bounce up, and then I just got a little lazy on the 18th hole and 3-putted.
Ball's back and through. No! My goodness, how careless. This feels like a time just to have a rest and regroup. Back in, putt for bogey, and that drops. So careless 3-putt for Jordan Spieth drops him back to -9.
If it were a Sunday, you know, it would have certainly hurt more, but I thought, you know, I had an opportunity to be in the final group, and that was really what hurt.
As Louis Oosthuizen sets it on its way. Louis watches it a little anxiously. Oh, and this is even better. Oh, listen to that roar. That's to about 6, maybe 8 feet at most. So, birdie opportunity on the 16th par 3. Forward and in from Louis Oosthuizen, who retakes the lead on his own and goes to 12 under par for the championship.
Oosthuizen's birdie on the 16th had restored him to the top of the pack, but after that record-breaking 36 holes and a steady third round, his lead over Collin Morikawa was just 1 shot. As the pair walked off the 18th green, you had to wonder which of them would be sleeping more comfortably that night.
My guess is that Louis Oosthuizen at the end of that round was scratching his head and saying, here we go again. Because he had such a commanding position through 36 holes, that's only halfway through the tournament. Having said all that, and I don't mean to be callous with this, I wasn't really surprised. This is pretty much what I expected to happen. I expected the gap to narrow, and that's precisely what took place.
Being 1 back, obviously you're not sleeping on that pressure of being the 54-hole leader. You obviously want to have that position because you want to be in the lead. You want to have as many shots and be as low score as possible. But, you know, being 1 back, waking up that next day, you're just ready to go out and attack. You know, I'm ready to go out and make birdies, ready to go and contend for another major.
Now, before we get the blow-by-blow account of how the 149th Open was won, there's someone I want to tell you about. With 2 amateurs having made the cut, the silver medal was on the line for the first time since 2018. Thanks to a record-equaling second-round score of 65, the man firmly in the driving seat was 23-year-old German Matthias Schmid.
Playing alongside Lee Westwood, who just picked up his eagle at 7. Can Matthias Schmid equal the feat? He matches him blow for blow. Both 1 under par for their rounds, both 1 under the card for the event.
We were lucky enough to walk down the 18th and catch up with his dad. And the thing that really got my interest was meeting his brother, who was disabled, had to walk around 18 holes with crutches, which was incredibly impressive. Matthias didn't even look that, I guess, intimidated, because walking down the fairways of the 18th hole was a big deal. You know, it's not your standard round of golf. You've got huge grandstands and you've got those clocks and that iconic scoring system. And, you know, it proved that that was his place, that was his home.
Come on, knock this in, young man. Lovely. Well done to Matthias Schmid. Managed to make an eagle at the par 5 7th. A few drop shots on the card, but that doesn't matter. And as I say, that is enough to secure him a silver medal for the leading amateur at the Open.
A week to remember for the young German, as it was for his compatriot Marcel Siem, who had one last chance for a fist bump on 18.
Yeah, it was amazing. It felt like winning the golf tournament, to be honest. They were so supportive and carried me down the fairway there. I mean, it was a great shot on the last hole as well.
Siem for the closing birdie. Well, it's his first birdie today. And Marcel Siem has provided a lot of entertainment out there this week.
It's the best players in the world played there, and I finished 15th after the 2-3 years I had. So it was a big achievement for me. The memories I have from all the photos, and one of the best weeks I've ever had in my life. It was awesome.
This is game number 39. On the tee from the USA, Collin Morikawa.
This is what we live for, this is what we love to do, and this is what gets us excited, winning major championships. There's nothing like it. It's hard to describe because that's something we've dreamt about for our entire lives. So, you know, going out and being one back, hitting a good drive down the first hole to get things started is very exciting.
Grandstand will clear very quickly after these two shots. Here it comes, Paul. And it looks
pretty good run, as it always does, from Collin Morikawa.
On the tee from South Africa, Oosthuizen.
I mean, I was as calm and relaxed going into the Sunday. You know, the first few holes a little tensed up, didn't hit really good shot.
Oosthuizen on the second. Pin cut on the right, and he's missed it on the right, and there's a little swale there, and the ball has rolled down off the green into the swale on the right-hand side.
This is downhill, right to left for Spieth for his par. Vital. No.
That was pretty casual.
The first 6 holes were not ideal. Then I kind of thought, man, I may have taken myself out of the tournament.
As Jordan Spieth takes all that in and sends this one forth, he's not happy at all again. This one came up short and has found itself mired in one of those pot bunkers. So Jordan Spieth is struggling, and he's got a real burden before him.
I got to the 7th tee, and I told Michael, I was like, all right, we might not be in this tournament anymore. He's like, no, hey, don't say it. I'm like, no, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like, let's just free roll now. Like, forget about the tournament. We're just going to free roll, make as many birdies and eagles as possible.
Jordan Spieth with an eagle try here on the 7th green, moving ever so slightly from left to right. Ball's on its way, and he makes it. Much needed eagle putt for Jordan. Spieth moves to 9 under par for the tournament, back to level par for the round.
And when that converted, not only did the fans go crazy because here was Jordan Spieth seemingly doing Jordan Spieth things again at the Open, but Jordan went crazy. And I think Jordan embraced the fact that this was a change in the current of things, and it really felt that way out there.
Spieth was back on track and within striking distance of the last 2 men on the course.
So a big putt now for Oosthuizen on the 4th. Remember, he is the leader, and it's just going to come up short and left of the hole. So he's going to drop a shot.
Just for a share of the lead. Nicely done. Oosthuizen's going to drop one. The lead's going to be 11. Those players will be co-leaders.
4 was a crucial hole, me making up and down from the right side. That was a very bad lie. Not a great approach shot to put myself there, but I wouldn't say that was a turning point. I think the turning point was 7 when I made birdie, he made bogey. Hit an okay tee shot down the left side. Louis piped one down the middle. I had hit first. I think I had hit it just up to the front edge, and then he hit it into the right bunker. And you know, when you assume we're right near the green, par 5, you're going to assume both of us probably are going to make birdie.
Quite a lot of sand in the back of this bunker for Oosthuizen here. This is not as easy as I thought walking up. Very easy to leave this one. Oh no. That was the danger. It just felt like a lot of sand in there. Easy to duff it short.
That one's up against the back edge of that bunk hole on the other side.
I caught the ball first, and then I had a horrible line on the other bunker and ended up making a bogey, which, you know, that sort of changed a lot.
Tides have turned. I think I went from 1 down to now 1 up. You know, those were kind of the momentum shifts that I needed.
3rd shot on the par 5 7th. And he's run it up to the pin. He's played it very well. He's waving it on. My goodness. Oh, well, that is stone dead. And Collin Morikawa of the United States is about to take the lead in the Open Championship.
For the first time, Collin Morikawa enjoyed clear daylight in leading the Open. 2 shots ahead of Oosthuizen and 1 more up on Spieth. Now, it was time for him to press the accelerator.
Back-to-back birdies for Collin Morikawa, 7 and 8, and he extends his lead to 3.
from 8 feet for birdie at the 9th hole. Jordan Spieth trickles this up to the cup, and it drops! Jordan Spieth goes to 10 under.
Every time he would gain an advantage, every time he would take a step forward, you had Collin Morikawa doing something exceptional behind us. For the fans and for the players, even if there wasn't a scoreboard around, we knew that it was like a prize fight, and one would land a heavy punch and then it would come back with another one. I'm kind of getting a chill even recounting it with you.
Ball's on its way, tracking towards the hole, gathering and in. Jordan Spieth with a birdie on number 10.
Putt of around about 12 feet maybe, rolls it left to right, and in from Morikawa. What a reply to Spieth's effort.
As Morikawa and Spieth matched each other with pars through 11 and 12, up ahead the roars of the galleries were growing louder and louder as another major champion was putting on a show.
115, second to 13 for Jon Rahm. It's a lob wedge. Is this going to spin? Check. Come on down, baby. It's coming on down. He's no more than 3.5 feet away. That's all. Tap that in, eagle the next, and you never know. But he has to do that.
We go to Rahm for birdie at 14.
And he makes his birdie, 2 in a row for the Spaniard.
It would be too little, too late for Jon Rahm. But a memorable final round meant he left Royal St George's tied for 3rd place and ranked as the #1 player in the world. The championship, though, that was about to be decided.
Once he's over it, he's usually very quick shuffle of his feet, looks at the hole, forward press, ball's on its way, moving down the green and in. Jordan Spieth with another birdie on the back 9, moves to 12 under par, and in sole position of 2nd place, only 2 shots back.
I've gone on runs at the Open Championship before, when I won it in 17, it was just a crazy run at the end. And so I'm always kind of feel like it can still be there. I just need one little spark, and started to get it there on the 13th, 14th.
Drama and excitement out here at the par 5 14th, where Jordan Spieth has 8 feet to get to 13 under par. It is getting tight out here. Putt is on its way. Creeping in, yes! Jordan Spieth, the 13 under. We've got a fight going on here.
I don't think pressure is the word when you hear fans, cheer for other people. I think it's just part of what we do.
As Morikawa and Oosthuizen mount the tee at the par 5 14.
3 would really just looking down the left.
So 14 hit, I believe my tee shot a little left, laid up, pushed it as close as I could to the green, and I think my chip shot was a foot or 2 from staying up and being about 6 or 7 feet rather than maybe 25.
He doesn't want to overhit this because it runs away after the hole. Up it goes, gets to the crest, and in! Birdie for Collin Morikawa. Wow, what a putt that was.
Oh, I tell you what, he is delighted with that, as he should be, of course, but you could see, he was really pumped with that one.
To see it go in, those are the times that, it's just one of those days. How are you going to be able to close it out? You're going to make putts like that. You're going to have shots like that. You just know.
On a day like that, where guys are going to play really good golf, as Collin and Louis did, you just got to be starting tied for the lead or in the lead so you can control your own destiny. But very proud of the way the last 12 holes went. Loved the fight, and it was another really solid week where I look to build on as we go forward here.
Well, Jordan Spieth, this is about the length he missed last night, so we'll be taking a little bit extra care.
No mistakes this time.
Jordan Spieth went on to tidy up a round of 66, enough for 2nd place outright. Behind him, Louis Oosthuizen, the man who had led from Thursday, would have to settle for tied 3rd with Rahm.
One of the great moments in sport now, the finish of the Open Championship as they come down the 18th.
Here you had this young man who had asserted himself in this tournament in such a dramatic way and never really let up. Never at any point did anybody feel, okay, here is where the weight of circumstance is starting to bear down on him. To be framed by the setting sun, to hear the seagulls off in the distance, to have the tens of thousands on site, he handled it like the champion that he is.
You know, you're trying to take in as much as you can, and thankfully I was able to hit the green knowing that, you know, if I just 2-putted, 3-putted even, I think I was going to have the win.
But now, here comes Morikawa. Into the hole, and Collin Morikawa is the new Open champion, the 149th champion. Big hug for his caddy, warm handshake from Louis Oosthuizen. What a performance by Collin Morikawa. He's finished at 15 under par, now stands arms aloft in the sunshine, applauds the fans who have been so generous to him. Not a single blemish on his card. 4 birdies. What a performance. Collin Morikawa is the new Open champion.
To look around and to hear the fans and them all rooting you on, and I think just taking a deep breath and realizing, you know, look, we just closed off our first Open Championship win, my second major, and it never gets old. It really doesn't.
You know, he always looks very comfortable. It looks like he's in his element. I could be wrong here, but I don't think he ever feels out of place. So when he's, yes, speaking at the winner's speech at Royal St. George's after winning his second major at such an early age, it's comfort for him. It's like, roll on the next one.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Collin Morikawa.
This is by far one of the best moments of my life. To see everyone out here, look at all these fans. Let's hear it for you guys. You guys have been amazing. I'm obviously very biased being from the US, but to see some of the best crowds I've ever seen out here, I look forward to making my trip every year and see you guys cheer us on. Thank you guys.
I ended up showing up at Heathrow to take the flight back. One of the cameramen that I worked with that week said to me that Collin had the claret jug and that he was in fact on our flight, and that at first they weren't going to let him bring the claret jug on the plane as a carry-on. I guess they weren't sure if it was going to fit up top, you know, where you keep your luggage. He was 1 row in front of me, he being the last row of first class, mine the first row of steerage. And I could see that in fact he did have the claret jug and it was securely above him. We get off the plane, and as you can appreciate, when you get off the plane and you have to go through customs, you generally have to walk quite a distance. And so he was walking through the airport with it. Here he is, the newly minted Open champion. I can't even imagine how many messages were coming in on his mobile. He had no entourage with him. It was just Collin Morikawa coming home from Royal St. George's, dragging behind him in its protective case the claret jug through the airport. It was quite a scene.
It's got a great little travel case. I think everyone's seen it by now, that you can bring it anywhere. You know, you can throw it on a carry-on on a flight, and it's awesome. You know, I think every day when I'm able to look at that and see my name against a bunch of Hall of Famers, careers, people that have influenced this game way more than I could even think about, you know, it's pretty cool to have my name there, and hopefully we could just add it a few more times.
That was the story of the 2021 Open, narrated by me, Jonathan Joseph. It was written and edited by Alistair Cresswell. The supporting producer was Chris Lewis. The exec producers were Paul Sutcliffe and Steve Tebb. Thanks for listening.
This has been an original audio production from The Open.